implemented into a lot of the churches because the churches have been tricked and deceived. How the world actually took the holy days and changed it into holidays. And how the devil is all behind all these holidays and causing the people of God to take part in false God worship. And how God warned Israel about this even back in the day when Israel got in trouble with God with worshiping other gods. And God always was telling Israel, when you go into the land, learn not the ways and the customs of the people and don't do what they do. And he gave prime example of what these people actually did and how Israel continued to fall into false God worship. And we're going to jump right into this and just deal with.
Prayers for the dead are an integral part of traditional All Saints' Day services, which are scheduled in Catholic churches on November 1st and on the next Sunday. Halloween gets its name from the Catholic holiday. It is a hallowed evening because it precedes All Hallows' Day, thus Halloween. Halloween is a pagan holiday to honor the dead and evil spirits. We are warned not to take part in customs and traditions like this in the scripture.
So God warning us not to take part in customs like this in the scripture, and we're going to bring this out for you real quick. Let's get, give me 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 24. 2 Kings 23. You got it. 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 24.
Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits and the wizards and the images and the idols.
So God is warning. Let's back up. Back up. Go read me verse 23.
23, okay. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, wherein this Passover was holden to the Lord in Jerusalem. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits and the wizards and the images and the idols and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away.
So they was having a holiday. When we backed up and read that other verse, verse 23, they was having a holiday. So here come the devil. The devil came in with the sorceries came in. The people that's working with familiar spirits, the wizards, and bringing in there. They came in and was trying to corrupt the holiday. But what did Josiah do? Read again. Did just go back and read. And all
abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away.
So Josiah put these things away. He wasn't going to let these people corrupt God's holy day. And we have to take a stand like Josiah today and say we're not going to let these things corrupt our household. We're not going to deck our yard with all these crazy lights and following the worship of these light gods.
Jack-o'-lantern.
And all these the jack-o'-lantern was a god. We're not going to fall into all of this crazy Celtic deity God worship by putting all these ghosts out in our yards and just doing things that are of the devil. Read. Josiah put away.
Put away that he might perform the words of the law which were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of the Lord.
So they found the laws of the Lord. They found what God wanted them to do. God told them, don't worship no other gods. Have no other gods before me. Don't get involved. He told Israel 7 times, don't get involved with all these false god deities. And we understand that Israel, they fell into this anyway. So give me Deuteronomy 12 and 29. Deuteronomy 12 and 29.
When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them and dwellest in their land. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee.
So what is God talking about? God is talking about the people that was observing and hearing all these things, and He was letting them know, He was letting them and their children know that do what's good in the sight of the Lord. And then when you get on down, He was letting them know, don't take part in what these other people did, that they doing in this land. They giving their children and their daughters up and passing them through the fire. He's saying, don't do this stuff. They sacrificing them unto other gods. We take heed to thyself.
Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them after that they be destroyed from before thee.
A snare is a trap. See, the devil, he set snares to trap you. So this is what's going on with Halloween. They're tricking you. When you're actually dealing with false gods, they're tricking you and making you think that this day had something to do with the resurrection of Christ. Same way they did with Easter. Making you think it has something to do with the resurrection of Christ. They're actually giving you a trick. But then they treating you with a bunch of lies. And you accepting the treat. And then you turn around and you accept the treat. The treat of lies. Read. 30, we still at 31.
Take heed to thyself, that thou be not snared by following them, that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their God? Even so will I do likewise.
See there, he said, not after their God, required not after their gods. That's what he was saying. Then they asked the question, how did these nations serve their God? So now we're bringing out to you the history of how these people serve their gods. Give me that reading on the that last one. Give me the reading. It's showing you how these people serve their God. This is what the scripture said. The scripture asked the question in verse 30. How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Read.
So to commemorate the event, the Druids built huge sacred bonfires where the people gathered to burn crops and animals as sacrifice to the Celtic deities.
So they're talking about the Celtic deities, which are deities are false gods or other gods that are not the true and living God. These people back in these days is where Halloween originated from, All Souls Day. We brought that out. Read.
During the celebration, Celts wore costumes typically consisting of animal heads and skins and attempted to tell each other's fortunes.
They wore costumes in an attempt to tell each other's fortunes. But the costume was based off animal faces and animal skin, which is what they do in Halloween today. But it was based on fortune telling. So when you put on a costume, you're dealing with fortune telling. You're dealing with sorcery. And God is saying, yeah, you're dealing with witchcraft. God is saying, stay away from this stuff. Why are you going to dress like them? Why are you going to look like them? Read.
When the celebration was over, they relit their heath fires which they had extinguished earlier that evening from the sacred bonfire to help protect them during the coming winter. By AD 43, Romans had conquered the majority of Celtic territory. In the course of the 400 years that they ruled Celtic lands, two festivals of Roman origin were combined with the traditional Celtic celebration of Samhain. The first was Feralia, a day in late October when the Romans traditionally commemorated the passing of the dead.
That's right. Samhain was actually the time of the winter feast or the winter festivals. So they did so many different festivals based upon these over 400 Celtic deity gods. So all this based on dealing with all these Celtic deity gods. So we want to get into Leviticus 19:30.
Ye shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary.
Ye shall keep my Sabbath and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord.
Regard not them that